there was a hearing before the Assembly Transportation Committee. It went, I think, 7 hours and 40 minutes. The first one to testify was Transportation Secretary Mark Gottlieb.
He was more than 3 hours?
More than 3 hours. And I'm struck by two things he said about, well, how long it would take to finish some projects and how long it would take before we could again plan.
But I don't think this budget will be the template for 70 years of transportation funding in Wisconsin.
That's a good point.
Two, what's going to happen at the federal level? We don't know.
State Representative Joe Sanfilippo was called on, and he said, I am concerned that you're using stainless steel on the bridges in the Zoo Freeway. And by the way, I don't like where Department of Transportation employees are going to conferences and trips. And I don't like the fact that you're not filling 22 vacancies in the State Patrol. So that was interesting. But what was most interesting, and let's hear Sanfilippo bring to a conclusion his criticisms and how the Transportation Secretary Gottlieb answered it.
I recognize you're in a difficult position here, but I think that the department has to take a much more serious look at ways that they can save money. And it really is kind of insulting, to be honest with you, to say that we're going to cut state troopers who are out there doing very important work so that we can continue all of these other things that I think, there's a good argument for that they're not as necessary.
I guess, I don't know if your constituents would rather have their bridges designed by bridge engineers or legislators. I guess that's a question you could ask them too.
Mr. Gottlieb is an engineer. He's a former legislator from southeast Wisconsin, north of Milwaukee, and he went like that to Sanfilippo. What significance do you attach to that?
Republican lawmakers are hoping for this audit that should be out sometime in the next month, 2 months,
whatever
5 or
6 weeks, I
whatever.
bet.
This audit of DOT to uncover all these areas of inefficiencies they can pull money from and rearrange things. Maybe they're hoping maybe it's fingers crossed for that, but what they're looking at is what decisions are you making and why, and is there a way to save money? I mean, Sanfilippo brought up, for example, the style of traffic lights we now install at multi-lane intersections. Are they worth the extra money to do those? He called them ugly. I'm not sure there's a pretty
traffic
light out there, but whatever. So he said that's excessive. You're using this. He questioned the decisions on the decks of the on ramps and off ramps for the zoo. Right. You're using this different kind of rebar. Does that make sense? The life of the deck can last so long to justify it. So they're picking apart these things, trying to find where can we save money. You ask any Republican who's been critical of DOT, and they'll say roundabouts. We should take away roundabouts.
They're
Robin
cheaper.
Voss will tell you that his report that they did for some Republicans about
no easy answer.
Yes, that roundabouts long term are cheaper to maintain. Everything else. There's also another benefit, they will argue, of fewer crashes or fewer
because cars
dramatic
are going
crashes.
slower. Yes,
cars are going slower, and they're also glancing blows rather than T-bones.
Right.
So anyway, they're looking for ways to save money, and how do you do that?